Have you ever seen somebody go off their nut in a restaurant or a retail outlet or somewhere, and you might be another customer and you're watching them and thinking, oh my goodness, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to intervene, but someone should help that poor person behind the counter who has no idea what to do? Well, it is a part of retail. It's a part of any business, but it particularly can happen in retail and food service. And during the time, you know, this week I went to confirm a booking for a restaurant, and the girl on the phone reminded me that they will be checking for vaccination evidence. And I said, oh, right, okay. And of course, one of our party would have been coming, but he's not able to for now. And I asked her, I said, has your manager given you any training on how to cope if you do get somebody who's upset, confrontational, looking for a fight about it? Because it is an emotional subject. And she said, no, not any. She said, but, if people get aggressive, we get that about other things from time to time. So, we just try to stay polite, and we can call our manager. And of course, we've been told we can call the police. Well, that's quite dramatic. And I said to her, look, if you do have anyone come in, let me just give you some tips. And if you've got some tips, then great, you can add them in the chat. But here's what I've learned over 20 plus years in customer service, that people, when they're emotional, they're not rational, and you can't argue with them or reason them. And so when you're in customer service, in food service, anything like that, it's really important to know that it's not you that they're mad at, and you don't have to defend your place of work. You just have to listen first. So firstly, we listen, okay, and speak softly. Even as they get louder, you get softer. Soft word turns away anger. But if you match it, or if you get defensive, then they're going to arc up and try and win that way. So you speak softly. If they're particularly aggressive, or you think that they might be on something, make sure that you're safe. Just don't be frightened, but just put a little distance, just a without being obvious, a little distance if you can. And when your body language, when someone is coming at you, if you tilt just a little, maybe a 45-degree angle as you're listening, and look like you're listening, it will wash past you. Just psychologically, it'll wash past you instead of being at you. And so you're speaking softly. You're not giving in necessarily, but what people want to do is be heard and have some sympathy. And you don't have to agree with someone to be compassionate and sympathetic, particularly at a time when it is a controversial thing with the vaccinations, and someone's they might feel that they have every right to make a scene. And if they feel that way, that's how they feel. So it's not your job to argue with them. It's not your job to convince them either way. And certainly if you do have a strong opinion about it, be aware of that and keep it to yourself, because that's not your job to do that. And it will only make that you're not going to convince them there and then on the spot. You can even if you don't agree, you can sympathize with their hurt and anger and inconvenience. You can offer them alternatives at a later point, but you can be compassionate. Just look, I understand how you feel. It's hard. It's really hard. And don't make it about you, but it is a little about you, because, we don't like these rules either. However, we're going to get a big fine, and we will get shut down, and then nobody gets to come. But we can do takeaway for you. I don't want you to take away. No, I understand that. But in the event in the future that you do, very happy to help you with takeaway. What's an alternative, But be sympathetic. Sound like you're on their side in the sense that they're missing out on something, and that's hard. Your body language, nodding, soft eyes. When we can get like this, angry, but soft eyes, and see them. See past the anger to the person. When you connect with a person, with soft eyes and a gentle voice, it usually brings them down. Not always, but usually. And that body language angle, just that little bit of an angle so that the force of it deflects. So, yeah. Oh, thanks, Chris. We got some tips here. It's so important, especially with some of the manic shopping that's happening over the next few weeks. Yes, that's true. So it's not just about people who are not vaccinated insisting that they should be allowed to come to the movies or be part of it. It's a sad thing. There's a lot of division going on, and what matters is that especially in families and relationships, that we keep the priorities of the relationship. That this is not about someone's salvation, Christians. So it's not a substitute gospel. It's what's going on for now. There's been lots of things go on in history that have inconvenienced people, that have really challenged people. But when you're in the workplace, you've got to stay professional. You don't want to create an incident. Yes, you can call your manager over. Yes, you can call the police, but it's much, much better if you can speak softly, listen, sympathize, and at an appropriate moment, watching your body language, your eyes, and offer an alternative when you can. And remember, these measures may only be temporary. We don't know, but we're hoping that they'll be temporary, and none of us knows the answers. And you can say, look, I wish I knew what the answer was. I feel for you. You can say you feel for them without actually agreeing or disagreeing. You say, look, I really feel for you. It's hard. It is hard. You might have family and friends. I've got family and friends that are in the same boat, but we'll get through this, and hopefully it won't be for too long. So I hope that's been helpful. If you've got some suggestions of what has worked for you in the past when other things have happened, or if you've got policies in place, have you had some training? Because so far, a lot of the retail people I've spoken to haven't had any training. It's just like, oh, well, just try and, deflect if you can. That's not great customer service, but you also want to preserve your mental and emotional state. And there's also the bubble that which helps with the body language, that you're sort of in a little bubble. It's not about you. It's about the situation, and just let it flow past. And I hope that helps. So, and if you know someone in retail, or someone who's on the front line of where they're at risk of someone coming in and being quite upset, and some people coming in looking for a fight. I had one young lady say, I'm scared someone's going to come in and spit at me. I said, really? She said, yeah, that's been happening overseas. Like, okay. And this young lady on the phone said to me, oh, look, we're used to having scruffs come in and make a scene. I'm like, okay, all right then. She sounds like she's got a handle on it. But yeah, feel free to forward this to someone that you think it might be of help to. All right. Take care. See you next time. Oh, and remember to like and subscribe. I'm supposed to say that every time as well.